Hello, I'm Nut, and you're watching my bookmarks video. Nut is supposed to be joining me for the video, but unfortunately he isn't free, so I will have to do this video alone. This is bookmarks 5. Nope, it's actually 6. And this time I will be talking about the return of Sherlock Holmes. I know I have reviewed this book in the past, but at the time I only read one story in the book, but this time I've read all 13, so enjoy! To start off with, I will tell you about the author, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. So who is Sir Arthur Conan Doyle? Arthur Ignatius Conan Doyle was born on May 22nd, 1859, in Edinburgh, Scotland. At the age of 9, Conan Doyle moved to England to study at a boarding school. That was where he found out about his gift of storytelling and would often make up stories to tell younger students at the school. His mother was also a well-educated storyteller, which is a possible inspiration for him. After he graduated at the age of 17, he came home and was thinking of what to do in the future. The Doyle family had a tradition of artistic careers, but Arthur chose to follow a medical one instead, and so he was sent to the University of Edinburgh to study medicine. During the time, there were many future famous authors who were also attending the university. For example, Robert Louis Stevenson, who wrote The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and James Barrie, who was the creator of Peter Pan. Stevenson himself pointed out that the man who inspired the character of Sherlock Holmes was one of their professors, Dr. Joseph Bells, who was a master in observation, logic, deduction, and diagnosis. 2 years into his studies, he started writing stories which were accepted and published in magazines. He wrote in his journal, "It was in this year that I first learned that shillings might be earned in other ways than by filling files." After he graduated, he was employed as a medical officer on a steamer, Mayumba, which was going between Liverpool and west coast of Africa. He quit the job right after the first trip ended because he didn't like the hot weather of Africa. After the incident, he moved to Portsmouth and opened his first practice. He started with little money and was only able to furnish 2 rooms which his patient would see. It had a rocky start, but after a few years, he started making a good amount of money, and in 1885, he got married to Louisa Hawkins. After these times, Doyle was trying to become a good doctor and a recognized author at the same time. Then, in 1886, he started writing a novel called A Tangled Skein, but we know it better as A Study in Scarlet, which was the first book that introduced the famous detective, Sherlock Holmes. As time went on, he wrote more books, and then in 1902, King Edward VII knighted Conan Doyle, and it was said that the reason for it was because the king himself was a huge fan of Sherlock Holmes. His stories were famous worldwide, and Sherlock Holmes was considered to be a milestone for the genre of crime fiction. In July 1930, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle died at the age of 71, leaving behind an amazing character which will live on for many years to come. Okay, everyone, now I shall be talking about Sherlock Holmes. This book contains the canon of Sherlock Holmes that was written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. That is 4 novels, 56 short stories, and 1,122 pages worth of tiny text. The book that Nat and I chose is The Return of Sherlock Holmes, which is the 6th book to be published out of 9. The Return of Sherlock Holmes contained 30 stories. But why was the book called The Return of Sherlock Holmes? To know that, we will have to go back to the fourth published book, The Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes, more specifically, the last story, The Final Problem. This is where Sherlock Holmes had his last battle against his greatest enemy, Professor James Moriarty. The fight ended with the two falling down the gorge to their death, as said by Watson. This was all intentional, since Sir Arthur Conan Doyle wanted to stop writing Sherlock Holmes because of personal reasons. However, when the story was published in 1893, the fans of Sherlock Holmes were mad and demanded for a new story, which led to the fifth published book, The Hounds of the Baskervilles, which was set before the incident in The Final Problem. The first story in this book talks about how the fight with Moriarty ended and how Sherlock Holmes survived. The story then went on to talk about Holmes' new goal, which is to go after one of Moriarty's henchmen who tried to kill him after his fight with Moriarty. The story is possible since there was a lack of eyewitnesses during the incident, and that, everyone, is the return of Sherlock Holmes. Hello, I'm Nat. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm currently finalizing the video right now, so I thought I would show you some behind the scenes. So this is my workspace to make the video. That's my chair, my beanbags, the computer I used to edit, and the main station itself. That is what I used to film myself, and yeah, Christmas decorations for the season. Anyways, that is the camera stand which I used to film, so it fits perfectly on like that. This is made of whatever I can find in the yellow bucket on the side. So yeah. The video is almost complete right now, and yeah, like I said, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.